Hello, hello, everyone. Happy New Year. I'm going to give people a minute to join. I know I'm starting a few minutes late, and then we'll get started. So, if you're watching live, you are in the perfect and right place. Welcome. And if you're catching a replay, stick around. I think you'll get a lot of value from this. So, I want to start with a question. Can you think of a career move you really wanted, but never actually acted on? Not because you didn't know what to do, but because taking that next step felt riskier than just leaving it alone. If that sounds familiar, this conversation is specially designed for you. I'm talking today specifically to women who already know what they want, but they just haven't taken action on it yet. From the outside, everything looks fine. And yet, there's something you keep circling back to. And this is important. This circling doesn't look messy, it doesn't look dramatic. Most of the women I work with are doing well by every visible measure. They're capable, they're trusted, they're successful on paper. They're not flailing, they're not confused. They're usually the person everyone relies on. They're the one who figures things out, the one people turn to when something really matters or is really important. And because of that, that kind of circling doesn't usually look like a problem. It looks responsible. It looks thoughtful. It looks like someone who doesn't make impulsive decisions. And here's where it usually shows up. You've been thinking about a career move that feels really important and that matters a lot to you, but you keep telling yourself wasn't the moment. Not because you don't want it, but because the timing never quite feels right. And if you're someone who tends to think through things carefully before making an actual move, this will probably sound familiar. But it's not about being reckless, it's about being responsible. And one of the most common patterns I see with women who are good at what they do is something I call rationalizing delay as responsibility. And I'm going to say that again because it's an important concept. Rationalizing delay as responsibility. It sounds mature, it sounds thoughtful, it sounds like now isn't the right time. There's too much going on. Other people are counting on me. And I want to be clear that that way of thinking, it's not wrong. It's often the exact mindset that made you successful today. The problem starts when that responsibility quietly becomes a reason not to decide, not to move forward. And I see this happen over and over again. You tell yourself you're being strategic and you'll revisit it soon. But soon turns into the next review cycle, then another quarter, then another year. And the decision you were just postponing, well, it's actually been parked, but it's been parked in the next neighborhood. Not because it stopped mattering, but because staying reliable, that felt easier than changing expectations. So if that's landing, I want you to really hear this next part because you are not failing. You're protecting something, and that really matters. There's a space a lot of women end up in where you know what you want, but you haven't acted on it yet. And that's what I call the momentum gap. It's not confusion, it's not fear. It's the moment where you've been it's the moment where who you've been makes it harder to move forward. For most women, the hesitation isn't about capability, it's about identity, being the reliable one, the loyal one, the person people count on. Because once you take action, things change. People look at you differently. Expectations, they shift. And I know you might be thinking, if I stop being the dependable one, what happens? What if people don't see me the same way as I see myself? What if I take action on something I can't undo? And that's where the hesitation comes from. Again, it's not fear, it's self preservation. And I didn't recognize this pattern in others until I saw it in myself first. I wasn't unclear, I wasn't unhappy, but I had a really important decision to make that carried a lot of weight, and I wasn't doing anything about it. And it didn't change because I had some big realization. It changed because I finally took action towards it. And here's why this matters. Because when you stay in that momentum gap, it's easy to tell yourself it's not really costing you anything. There's no risk just staying where you are. Nothing's falling apart. Nothing feels urgent. From the outside, your career still looks solid, but the cost shows up quietly and sneakily. It shows up as time passing while that thing you really wanted remains unresolved, unchanged. The goal doesn't disappear, but your connection to it slowly fades. You still want it. It just feels further and further away. The urgency around it softens. The excitement dulls. And over time, something starts to shift. You don't lose skill, you don't lose ambition. What you start to lose is trust in yourself. Trusting yourself to move when you know something really matters or is really important to you. And once that trust erodes, even good opportunities, they start to feel harder to say yes to. That's the real cost. Not failure, but getting used to waiting. Waiting starts to feel reasonable, and then reasonable starts to feel comfortable, and comfort slowly replaces momentum. So here's a question I want you to sit with. What are you protecting by not moving forward? What are you protecting by not moving toward what you truly want? What really matters to you? What are you protecting? Because there's a point where thinking about it just keeps you stuck. And the real work becomes figuring out how to actually move forward towards it without blowing things up or forcing a decision that doesn't feel right. This is the part most women end up having to navigate on their own. So I built something to help with this, and it's called the momentum gap. The momentum gap names that pattern between knowing what you want and actually taking action. And then the program I've designed exists to close that gap. It's a focused group coaching program for women who already know what they want, but they just haven't acted on it yet. Not because they're unsure, but because deciding all of a sudden makes it real. This isn't about motivation. It's about not doing it alone, especially when the decision actually matters to you. I've seen women finally take action on things they've been avoiding for months, sometimes even years. And they didn't realize it didn't cost them what they thought it would. So if you're wondering what the next step is, I've made it simple. It's not more thinking, it's having a real conversation about how to get support to move on what you truly want. If this has been resonating with you, the next step is a clarity call with me. It's a focused conversation about deciding what is the right support for taking action towards that thing that really matters to you. We'll talk honestly about what's been holding you back. We'll look at what actually needs to change, and we'll see if this is the right next step for you. I'll add a link into the comments so you can book a call today. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching the replay. Have an amazing